this episode of the Florida Adventurers, we're exploring wild and urban areas to find native plants that you might have to eat yourself if you ever become homeless. Let's take a look. And what we have here is the Asiatic false hawk's beard. It's a lot like a dandelion. The leaves are tannic, full of oxalic acid. They're kind of tart, tangy. I don't eat anything off the ground. Sorry folks, I'm gonna have to boil this and render it down into some kind of health food. What the? Alright, take a look at this. We've got a bitter gourd vine. Now a lot of people associate this vine with its locker room scent. It's a little pungent when you're up close. The audience needs to appreciate what they're not experiencing right now, which is the scent. Now, another trait that people associate this particular vine with is its orange lantern-like fruit. And that's actually a melon. It splits open into 3 parts and displays red seeds. Now, once the gourd is orange and split, or even yellow or off green, it's poisonous. You can only eat this plant when the gourd is green, and even so, you've got to boil it. Alright, moving right along. Hey Ben, this is lantana. Oh. Whoa there! I wouldn't eat that. It can be fatally toxic if swallowed.
Oh.
There have been a few reported cases of children even dying from eating the berries. It sure is beautiful though. Unless you're fortunate enough to find a mango tree, you're more likely going to be looking on the ground for what you have to eat in some sort of survival situation. In this case we have dollar weed. Now this often much maligned and overlooked yardweed is part of the celery family and highly nutritious. Let's just hope that I don't get a tapeworm for eating it without cooking it. All of the dried goods and all of the canned meats.
This is bad.
And so there's no food. Alright, scenario.
You gotta restart.
Something you might find in an urban area in a southern Florida residential home. Strawberry guava tree. Now, nobody eats these unless the scenario is nobody exists on Earth and there's nobody to make you food and all of the canned and dry goods, perishables are gone. So you have to eat this particular fruit because there's just nothing else. That's the only way I can describe it. Oh look, a ripe one. Up there in a bough. I'm going to just grab it. It looks like they're pollinated by wasps. Oh my god, that's delicious. I take everything I just said back. People need to eat these more often.
Tastes like shit.
Sometimes confused for a poisonous palm, the queen palm is actually quite edible. The pulp on the outside of the palm nut or date is a sweet and fibrous jelly. I like it. I can see how everybody who's not me would absolutely hate it and consider it to be a survival food, and that is it. Ben and I are out in a wild scenario now. We're far away from the urban medians and lawns where wild edible weeds can often be found. If you pan over here, you can see the miracle I found this Smilex vine. Not only are the growing tips edible, and they taste a lot like raw asparagus when you eat them, but they can be boiled down or even pickled. I prefer them raw. Trailside snack. Now, you can also dig up the tuber and eat that as well. Let's see if I can find one. They're not usually that easy to just rip out of the ground. This one was shallow. See right here? That's the edible part. Just break off all the vines. Usually best boiled. Dried out in the sun or ground into flour after dry. But I almost prefer them straight out of the ground. They taste a lot milder when they're nice white and new like this one. Let's see if we can find any other wild edibles out here in natural Florida.
Now the innermost layer of bark that is new growth is called cambium. This is it right here. You get to it by cutting into the tree bark, and then you peel off that fine layer, and that here is the edible part of the pine tree. It's really sappy. I don't like it at all. I don't want to do an episode like this ever again.
It takes a broad perspective to eat what's necessary to survive. Those who don't, they'll perish and provide protein for us. Delicious.
Yeah.